Yeah, when I walked in downstairs, I was thinking.
You ready? Okay, it's 7:33 on May 9th, 2024. We will open the public hearing. And we'll start with ZBA 24-1. Application for a variance from section 7.04, location of accessory structure, and table 8.02, front yard setback minimum of the zoning regulations to allow for the removal of house and add new structure at 32 Trask Road, owner George and Pamela Perezik, applicant Eric Peterson.
That's me.
Okay, you want to tell us about what's happening?
Absolutely. So my name's Eric Peterson. I'm a surveyor and engineer from Gardner and Peterson Associates in Holland. And we were retained by the Pereziks to help them with permitting for now of a barn structure, and in the future of their retirement home on their property on Trask Road, which is 32 Trask Road, which is currently zoned R80. So the house that we're talking about is right here. It's an existing white house that's been on the property for a long time. I looked at the town records. It says it was built in 1900, but I don't believe it. I'm sure it's just they don't have the records that go back that far, and that's like the default setting or something. So there's also another barn on the property here, and there's a larger, older barn further back. And what the Pereziks would like to do is, so George grew up in Willington. He'd like to come back to Willington and retire here on this property. He's owned this property here for around 20 years or so. And this is the first step for him to come back and start that process. So essentially what he'd like to do is take down the house and build a barn into the bank here in its place. And that's a picture of the house from when I was out there probably last year sometime. I just drove by, it looks the same now. But see how it's kind of like built into the hillside. He wants to do the same thing with the new barn, which is about twice the size. If you go to the next one, Mike, there's some pictures from the company which he's going to purchase it from that shows, there's a good one right there of how it's built into the hillside behind it, which is a very similar topography as what's there now, whereas like the it's essentially built in the back with a lot of stonework on the side and that sort of thing. And the purpose of this is really for him to have a place to store stuff before he starts living here, and to use it as a hunting cabin or a fishing cabin. So when he comes up to Willington and hunts and fishes on his family owns like most of the property on Trask Road, to come up and see his family. This house is currently served by a septic system and a well. He's gonna like to connect the new barn so that he can take a shower after he's done cleaning the deer or whatnot that he's doing. It's not gonna ever be used as a residence. He's assured me of that. So the game plan is really to temporarily have some storage area, have a place for him to take a shower. He's gonna have like a fireplace in there to provide himself a little bit of heat in the winter time. And then when he's ready to build the house in the back, we've already done a little bit of work, not really what's there, but we've done some test holes, and we got some soils in the back where we can permit a septic system in the future for the house, not for this structure, but it's just all part of his plan moving forward to make his way back up to Willington. So the existing house is 13 feet from the front property line, and the new structure will also be 13 feet from the front property line. As the notice said, we're requesting two variances. One is section 704 accessory structures, which says that an accessory structure has to be 10 feet from a property line plus the height of the structure. So we'll need a variance for that. And also section 802, the dimensional requirements of a front yard being 50 feet. We will request a variance to reduce that down to 13 feet. The reason why he wants the building where it is so he can use the utilities that currently service the house. So again, he can shower and wash his hands and whatnot and have it use the existing septic system as well. I did speak to him about trying to see if we could move it back just a little bit. And it's something that we're not sure we can promise to do. Like maybe if we can move it back even 5 feet, that might make things a little bit better. So what we came down to is when we start digging and excavating the back here, if we find ledge, then we're gonna have to keep it where it is. If we don't, we'll be happy to move it back, whatever we can do to get it a little bit further from the property line than where it is today. One thing I didn't mention is that our mailings went out. Mike, what do you need for this? These are the receipts that we sent them out, and these are we sent out 3, we got back 2.
Okay.
That's it today.
And we did run the legal notices.
Yep, I saw that in the online. So essentially that is the extent of our variance request.
How big's that barn gonna be?
It is roughly 25 by 40.
What's there? White out.
It's
About double.
it's about double the size of it, really. And you can see that he's doing a great job out on the property. I don't know if you've noticed like the stone walls that he's put in, and I think it's really looking nice. He's trying to make a nice New England atmosphere, and when he makes his way back up here, and I think this will help with that.
And then there's no timeline for the house.
There's no timeline yet for the house. It has a lot to do with kids graduating college and financing and
Then grad school.
and who knows what happens with that. So it's hard to plan your retirement, I imagine.
So it was mentioned hardship about the well and septic and
Mhm.
not being able to relocate that because of the proximity. So I'm looking at that, and is that where that circle behind the barn, the potential ledge?
So we're thinking that, I'll just go up to the screen here. The elevation from here to here climbs up about 4 feet pretty quickly. So we're thinking right behind the building here, there could easily be some rock there. And I remember walking out here, this is all grass right now. There doesn't mean that there's ledge, but there are some rocks on the surface of the ground. You know, we didn't dig any holes over there to verify that, but you know, what he'd like to do is if he can set it back a little bit further, that would do him some good. But if he can't, then because of blasting ledge, then that's something that, you know, he doesn't want to have to occur.
Where is the existing well and septic system?
So the actual locations of them are not too perfectly, I don't know. So the well is located somewhere in this vicinity behind the house.
Dug or drilled?
It's got to be dug, but
I was
it's
gonna
buried.
say, yeah.
Yes. And the septic actually comes out of the front. And there's a pipe that crosses the street, and the fields are across the street on other land. Yep. So that's an interesting one, right? Exact locations are really not known.
They're old
Yeah.
properties. I mean.
Not that it's for us, but so that septic would really never be used for a residence.
Correct. Yep. I mean, it was, and that's why we did the test holes, some test holes down in here. So that when he does build the house in the back, you know, we're going to build a brand new septic for that. This is really like a shower room.
Are we gonna address the future building having structures in the front line?
You mean in front of the primary
Primary
structure?
structure. I mean, in Willington, it's in the regulations there, and it probably might be an okay time to address it. I don't know if that would be, if it would be appropriate. I don't know, like,
Sorry, I was looking at a section in the regs. I missed the first part of that.
no, I was just asking if we were also gonna address having a building in the front line to build the second, the house.
Having a building in forward of the house.
Yeah,
So there's nothing in the regulations that would prohibit it. There's already the issue of a structure being forward of the principal building. I mean, there's already a building in that location, but the principal building doesn't actually exist. And so right now, he's basically replacing a house with a what you can call an accessory building. And one of the things that we talked about when we were contemplating the application and going through everything is how do you deal with the sort of lack of use for a period of time, because he's gonna construct this so that he can kind of tie everything over while he builds this single family home. And the net gain is the same essentially, because there's a barn in the back which comes down, a house in the front which comes down, and they basically just trade places. In the interim, this will essentially function as an agricultural recreation parcel. He's not going to live there. He's going to have a barn, and that'll be the only use until he constructs the home. So he won't be permitted to really conduct any other use or do anything else on the property until that house is there.
so, but he's not gonna have to come back to us again,
No,
to put up that structure.
no,
Okay,
because he won't need anything for where it's going to be, where the house will be located. And I kind of talked with the health department. They don't obviously weigh in this because it's a zoning regulation variance, but it's extremely preferable to rectify a situation where you have a septic that's pumping underneath a town road into another piece of property that's adjacent to wetlands and a stream and a dam, and there's another private property that's there. There are significant issues with that, and I'm not sure that, because I'm not even sure Public Works knows that there's a septic line that runs under that road. So while that's not something that we can necessarily consider, one of the other things that was important when I was looking at this is we do look at health, safety, and welfare, and where septic discharges and how we deal with where that goes is a component of that. And I know I've gone on a lot longer than you expected.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah,
Trying to get it out.
I'm just recalling a property in town where they put up a barn, and actually they ran a commercial business out of the barn.
Mm-hmm.
Then they came back and they wanted to put up their house, and it was behind the barn. So
Right.
now we had a structure in the front. They did put up their house, but I just didn't know if it was something that we could clear the slate with now
Yeah.
while we're here in case something, but apparently everything will be okay. That's fine.
And this is a unique property in the way that the structures are situated now. The fact that it has a residence, it has a well, it has a septic, it has a barn. I mean, all of these things are existing. He's essentially trading the locations. And the other reason we talked about the location of the barn is that if he is able to move it back, even, I mean, granted, there's a structure it's getting larger in size, but there's some case law that says that, if something is 10 feet from a property line and it's getting replaced with something that's 11, even if the requirement is 50, because we're moving in the right direction, there's a different legal standard. They don't necessarily have to demonstrate hardship in every case. So the fact that they are willing to explore moving it back, provided there isn't ledge, is beneficial long-term as well.
I live in a very old property, so I understand that this very well could have been a driveway that
The
came to
road,
this
exactly,
property.
right?
And if
Exactly.
somebody built farther down the driveway, it became a road. which like part of my house is 10 feet, 15 feet, 12 feet off the edge of the road. So you kind of understand that in an old town.
I don't know if we'll be able to get in on
Yeah.
Street View.
Sure, yeah, I'd be surprised.
I doubt it.
Oh,
Oh.
How about that?
I don't know exactly where.
It's across from that, across from that, it's right here. That's the house across the street probably, because it's the only house on the road.
See if it lets me drop it.
There's a house across the street, right?
He doesn't want to drop.
Oh,
There he is.
I don't
I think we're much farther down.
Where are they showing?
You're gonna be the Willington Fire Department soon.
That is the doorbell to the front door.
This front door?
Yeah. Somebody it's not locked. But we should just make sure that it's not somebody.
The road is gravel.
Yeah, the road is gravel in between.
Yeah.
I wonder if they digitized this in the wrong direction.
You're at the power lines.
Yeah,
That's
it's back that way.
the other way, yeah.
Okay. We were on the wrong side.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
That's
that makes
why.
more sense. There's
Sorry.
the pond. Yep.
Apologies.
Swam in that pond when I was a kid.
Usually they get downstairs.
Oh.
We're gonna get some more chairs. Okay.
Yep, that's it.
So there's,
See you everywhere. Oh, there's this one. Because you're.
Well, because we're gonna go.
Okay, that's cool.
You can spin that right around to the other side and you can see those wild trees if he doesn't manicure the other side. Why is he passive aggressive for the last 20 years of owning the property there?
Rick, I just want to make sure you can still see that.
Yep, I'm good. I don't really have any questions. I mean, it's non-conforming, pre-existing. You know, he wants to make an improvement. Yeah, I think it looks fine. Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Have any? Bill, you have any other comments?
I'm a neighbor. I'm sorry we're late. I don't even know really what's happening. We were at a Little League baseball game out in Brooklyn.
Okay,
Somebody sent me a certified letter, so I guess.
Eric, you wanna, sure, if you would explain it.
You want me to
If I
go back?
I think that'd be best. So, I'm a surveyor and engineer from Holland Gardner.
Yeah,
So
okay, I guess you sent.
we
the
sent the
letter.
letter out, correct?
Yeah, her name's Twee Foco. You put the address at the Ann Twee or whatever, but that's my wife. I'm Brian Foco. So I
Okay.
live basically probably where you're standing. That's probably our driveway.
Yep, I never talked about, yep.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, there's the trees he doesn't take care of. Go back to those trees. There's poison ivy and everything at those trees and really bad. That something passive aggressive. Why I don't know why he doesn't take care of these trees. I've only lived there for a year, but that's the only thing. But what's he doing? He wants to knock that house
So
down,
he's
put a barn there?
he was gonna put a barn in place of that house, right? And it's gonna be a little bit, longer, parallel with the road. Probably about maybe twice the length or something like that. And,
And that other little outbuilding stays?
Yep.
And how does that affect our property or our property? Does it affect us positively or negatively?
I don't see it affecting your property either way.
So it won't decrease, it won't increase property value, it doesn't do
I mean,
anything for us.
It's gonna be a much
Doesn't-
nicer structure, so which might look a lot better from your view. Mike, do you wanna pull up the picture of the,
And what does he plan on putting a house back where that square is back there?
eventually?
That's what he's putting
Yep.
in? That's
But
nice.
that's what he's putting in right there, yep.
And is he pulling in as a garage? Is that gonna be used doors for
No,
a garage? Or
It's not used for a garage, it's gonna be storage for him, it's gonna be a place for him to get cleaned up after he goes hunting or fishing or something like that, but that's, about it. It's not gonna be like a place to
So he's got,
reside.
so that house is gonna be gone, this is gonna be there, then he's gonna build a house in the back.
Correct, that's the future plan.
And he needs zoning for this, is what he needs a zoning variance for, to put this,
That's correct.
that I don't really understand, I know I didn't get a chance to read through any of the rules.
Is
or
the
anything.
entrance gonna be on the, where is the entrance gonna be for that?
The entrance to the
The
building,
same driveway stays there,
the
the
same
shed.
driveway would be over here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, and it's just grass right now, but the curb cut is still there. So he's just gonna park up in here and walk into,
yeah, where?
probably there's just gonna be a side door and also that nice front door, which I would imagine the side door he'd use more often.
Yeah, but the front door is facing Trust Road?
Correct, yeah.
Uh-huh, okay.
Yep, there you go. So these slide.
Yeah.
It
Do you like that?
looks pretty nice.
That's what you're gonna look at?
Yeah.
Do you like that?
And that is for what, again, sorry?
It's just
It's
gives him
not
a
a
place to
garage,
go
is
when,
it?
it's not a garage, no.
Yeah.
He's got the red building there, which is gonna stay.
Mhm.
It's just a place for him to store stuff when he's coming up and visiting the property.
Mhm.
He said he likes to hunt, so he's gonna have the ability of getting washed up in there,
Mhm.
and he's gonna have a
The
fireplace,
shower, you mean?
Yeah.
Wash up, shower?
That's nice.
and that's about it, really.
Is it a guest house?
No.
No,
Absolutely not.
okay.
No, I specifically asked him about that. He said he has no interest in doing a guest house like that,
Mhm.
Oh.
Yeah,
even in the future.
Yeah.
So that would take another zoning.
So where is that outbuilding supposed to be?
What do you mean?
What's the setback? Where's this supposed to be? Why are we
Oh,
sitting at this meeting?
it's
Where's he
supposed to,
be?
like, and it's supposed to be back here
So why can't you do that?
because we want to be able to use the existing septic and well, and the well is back in that location. Also, we're thinking that there might be some ledge back there, which would be difficult to,
so it's gonna
the
be
foundation.
closer to the road?
it's not gonna be any closer at all.
Does the geotech say that you got ledge there? You did borings?
We have not done that. But we're suspecting that there would. So it's not gonna be any closer at all. It's just gonna be a little bit bigger.
Which you said you will attempt to
Correct.
move it back if
if-
there's no ledge, correct?
If it turns out that there is no ledge back there, then he's gonna go ahead and push it further back.
When you gonna test that? When-
Before they start digging.
When's he demolishing? Is he demoing either way?
I don't know the schedule.
Mhm.
When he's demoing, is he gonna take care of the trees and the property next to mine?
I don't
You
know.
know what it is. I got poison ivy again from all that shit. That family, Roman lived there before me, and it's passive aggressiveness. Why could you not
Everywhere
take
is-
care of your property? You manicure,
No, everywhere is well manicured except where right
you
we are.
parasect on one side of my property, on the other side. It's like, come on, dude, really? You
Yeah.
didn't, I've only been there for a year. It's not me. And how you treated me is how obviously you treated the last people here. Wake
Yeah.
up. Zoning board knows everything, you know? Town, be cool, and, you know, be cool. Take care of that.
They do take care of that, but just where is the right next to us, they won't.
I don't see
there's
any
something-
oriental bittersweet, the kudzu, the poison ivy running wild, and rampantly, but on either side of my property. Everywhere else, they've got it manicured.
Cool.
Be cool.
I'd be happy to mention it to him.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Because I don't really talk to them. I had my boss's truck from New Hampshire and I'd work out of state and it was parked there. And you can park on the street. They'll also let them know you can park on the street in Willington overnight.
Hey. they made it. No.
I let them dig it, got the ledge there. You'd see it humping up.
Okay, any other questions?
Who?
No,
excuse me,
that's
who are
not,
you?
he's putting the house, these I think are the zoning board guys.
Oh, yeah, zoning board.
Mark Lucinda built land.
Steve Schwartz.
I feel in zoning board.
Zoning
Can I ask a
board of
question?
appeals, and Rick Maloney's in cyberspace some.
All right. We have a 1.86 acres minimum for this town, right? Well,
For new lots, yes.
for new lots.
Mhm.
Do you know when that law went into place or when that happened? Or try to come to talk to somebody.
I'm,
Their property lines might be all messed up here too.
Then
Like
we
through
called
time.
to town hall, nobody could give an answer.
To what, to when the town established the minimum lot
1.86
size?
acres, yeah, because
I mean,
your survey, have you done the survey? Do you know where my points are, where his points are? Or have you done that?
No.
You must
Yes.
have.
I know where his points are, and so there was a surveyor that came in and established the street line
From
before
Brooklyn,
us.
right. Well, some guy was there in the fall and I was trying to go over what my deed says and where my property lines are. It doesn't match up to whatever. It's,
And we try to call to people and nobody give us a good answer, like whether I don't know or they don't know or no good answer.
So our task was on their side, on the other
yeah,
side
it's
of
the
the
other
road.
side of the
So
road, right,
it's be a completely different situation on your side of the road as far as property lines go.
right. Because the,
We built on the work that the other surveyor did when he established the street line. We did a lot of research, I believe, in the town hall and public works and stuff like that. And that's how they, essentially, that's before they built those walls there that, follow right on
Right.
the street line.
right. That's cool. He does a good, I would love to just see him. I've asked his landscaper, hey, dude, can you take the leaf blower and come over here and blow this or cut it? He brushed the 2 fields he brushed most this year. That would just be nice
Yeah.
to take them out or whatever.
We could take care of those, but then he threatened us
Yeah, and
To take
maybe
to
he
the
could put
court
another no trespassing
or
sign
whatever,
and
no
stuff, you know? It's
trespassing
pretty much
and all
passive
that.
aggressive. It's pretty weak.
But he won't cut it, and I have kids that I don't want them to get poison ivy. He got to the hospital 2 times last year. Now he just got poison ivy, sumac or whatever. Now it's healing, thank God.
Yeah.
And we try to be nice to them, just cut those, and they won't. But he say if we touch it, he bring us to court.
I don't think he's
How
ever,
much is
I've
that?
never even spoken. It's
Yeah,
always
so
2 third-party stuff.
Well, all I can say is,
At
that's,
least you're his
we're
rep.
here to talk
your
about
office.
zoning, but I'll be happy to mention it to him when I
yeah.
Which
talk
is
to him
good.
about what
That's
happens.
good.
So
Mhm.
who
That's
we
all I
could
can say.
call-
That's good.
Who we could ask about the board, the line and all that, then if he,
Isn't that listed in your deed?
it does
In the
list it in
property?
our deed,
Yeah.
but then when we say it, they say, no, it's not that. They say that, no, that's our property, so who we can,
You have to live according to the deed, so.
no, they don't accept
Yeah,
it.
the
That
deed,
is
the deed is obviously, I mean,
So,
our property is more than.
I can answer the town piece so that I don't want to get too far off track.
Yep.
So the minimum lot size, it's been established, we're at least probably 3 decades.
30 years,
We,
okay.
we have not, we've had zoning, since the 70s. So what it was originally established, I'm not sure, but it doesn't tell the whole story because if you have a lot that exists prior to the adoption of a regulation, those existing lots do not then need to comply with that standard. So when was the house that you live in built?
It was built in, it's 15 years old.
The house?
My house. It's 15 years old. There was another pre-existing house. There was the Knolls, you know, the Knolls.
So,
They own
so,
that, I think they sold it for sex initially.
so that an initial house that was there previously, whenever that was built, if that lot existed in the 50s, then it predates the zoning
I think it
regulations.
did. I think that lady sold the land to basically everybody around there. So I don't know.
So you would have what we call a pre-existing non-conforming lot of record. It's not the size that it would need to be if it were created today, but it's lawfully existing and there's nothing wrong with it. The only person who can tell you where those property lines are is if you called a surveyor and had him do a survey of your
They
property.
can't even figure it out. This dude doesn't even know, and the other dude from Brooklyn, they don't even know that. So I've
Well-
gone over and over it with it, and they were supposed to come out and put stakes in back in November. It didn't even happen, because I'm cool with that. I'd
Mhm.
like to know, and I'd like to come down here and talk to somebody with records, but they've done all that, you know, with, I guess, with whatever, you know, there's some funny stuff.
Yeah,
There's some funny stuff.
I don't know what they would have been able to do or not able to do, and whether or not someone surveying an adjacent parcel would get into where those lines are, I don't know, but really the only person who can tell you where a property line is a surveyor. I can't,
Right.
no one else here can, so until you engage those services and have them come out and prepare a map and do something like this, no one else can tell you where the lines are, not the
He's the
neighbor.
second survey company I know since I've lived there. It's been out there.
But he has only looked at the opposite side of the road.
Right, see, the other dude is taking pumps off of it, but he's been there for a guy from Brooklyn. So
Yeah,
maybe we'll have to see.
I don't
didn't
know.
really- wouldn't have even come, he sent the letters, so I didn't know really what. was
The
going on.
town requires that the applicant notify abutting property owners anytime they make that type of
Gosh,
application.
and I was hoping to at least maybe meet George, talk to him, say, hey, dude, I'm your neighbor, this is me. This is my
So he's
family.
gonna cut the trees there?
I
We-
don't know.
And,
That has nothing to do with what we're doing today.
and he built the shed.
Oh,
How
yeah,
you call
those
it?
trees make a
Yeah.
mess in my,
You're
yes.
gonna cut
Go
the
back to
trees
this
and
picture. Yeah, is he gonna clean up
I-
all those, everything that's hanging over the road?
The only thing that the board is looking at here is the location of the structure. They're not looking
You
at
can't
anything
say,
else.
okay.
It's just not within, and if those trees are within the right of way, then it's not even within their purview to suggest that they need to be removed, because
They
it's,
probably are, they're probably right in your road, actually.
so if they're in close proximity to the edge of the road,
Because I've been
in the
trying
right
to
of way.
figure out, he's the surveyor, why did he not build the wall all the way up the road and through that little strip where the trees are?
And
You
the,
surveyed out that wall, you know the property you're working.
Yeah, I
Why is
don't-
that?
I don't know why he didn't build the whole wall all the way
Setback?
through, but. No, I think it's because he had this plan to go forward with this project here and didn't want the wall to be in the way. Maybe it'll be there in the future. But I don't know.
Eric, I had a question for you, please.
Sure.
So we're just about ready to close the public hearing now. So I was wondering if you could craft for us, if we do accept this application and vote on a zoning variance, could you tell us exactly what you would like to see in that motion, please?
Sure. So
How many feet?
like we're looking for a variance of section 704 and section 802 for dimensional requirements to reduce the front yard setback from 50 feet to 13 feet.
Why don't you stop there? So explain
I'll
that
stop
front
right there.
yard. Yeah. Explain that front yard setback for us, would you? So the
So-
required setback is 50 feet, correct?
That's correct, right?
And the existing building right now is how
existing
many
house is
feet?
13 feet.
Okay,
And we're looking to place the new barn structure the same distance from the property line as the current house is, which is 13 feet.
So you're asking for 37 feet of relief.
right. Is that correct, Eric? Yeah.
That's correct, yes.
Okay, right. So 37 feet on the front line variance.
Yep.
Okay, now what about the building dimension 802?
That was 802, sorry.
Oh, okay,
So
704.
704 is just a section that states that the location of an accessory structure must be the height plus 10 feet from any property line. So
Okay.
we're looking for a variance to that regulation as well. I think really just a non-specific variance to that. Because the 802 will restrict the distance to the street line with the 13. feet.
So 10 feet, so you're 10 feet from the side?
No, from the front still.
Okay,
That
so 10
regulation
feet,
is from
so
any property line.
so you'd be asking
Yeah,
for 40
I
feet
thought the
there?
Same thing when I first read it, yeah. So it's
You're asking
10
for
feet
40?
plus the height from any property
Okay, so
So-
how high is the building?
line. I don't know if I know that, to tell you the truth, but
I think one of the tricks that we had in dealing with this is that because of the changing grade and not knowing exactly where it will go, when you look at the baseline average grade and try to measure what that height is, because they're not sure exactly how far back they're going to get it, the measurement won't be exact. But the section that he's referencing is, I guess, what you could call like a non-dimensional standard, because it changes based upon the structure. So we included the section in the notice just to make it clear that that's what they were requesting relief from, if that makes sense.
So how much relief are you requesting for the non-dimensional variance? Specifically,
I'm sorry.
would it be
come again?
the height plus the distance from the road? So would it be 50 feet? Is that what you want?
So we're looking to get a variance,
Trying to pull the section.
so that one doesn't really come into play. But, because really 802 is gonna be what's gonna restrict the location of the building. The unfortunate thing is that the building might average out to be, on one side, it's gonna be, let me guess,
Two
two
stories.
stories. On the other side, it's gonna be 1 story, because of the change in elevation.
Sort of roof.
I believe that's, I think what Mike and I was talking about is we're requesting a variance of that section.
Well, I guess our situation is we have to come up with something. We have to come up and.
A number.
You don't, so in the motion, you can grant a variance to section 7.04. It is a one line which specifically says what he just referenced. It doesn't include anything else. So you don't need to reference a specific dimension. If he's asking for a variance to that section. If he were asking for 10 feet or whatever, it would be different. But he basically, because we don't know ultimately what that will be based upon topography, he's asking for a variance from the standard period. So if you're discussing or talking about a motion, it would be a variance to section 7.04 and a 37
To construct.
foot variance to section 8.02. So you can reference the standard in that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the only
Because
thing
once you meet, I'm sorry, once you meet 802, once you meet the 37 feet, it doesn't matter what 704 says.
and the only thing that I would add and suggest, we don't typically require as-builts, but I think an as-built or at least a letter of certification for the front wall so that we know where it ends up might be a reasonable condition, just because it's possible it may go back, and that'll help us moving forward. Since
To
it-
establish.
I think you guys should require that in every application. When there's a yard setback.
We try to be reasonable since it's,
Oh,
time and
once we
resources.
Once we grant the variance, it's attached to the deed. And
Right.
it'll forever be there. So no matter what you do with your building, that variance will always be the 37 feet.
Mhm.
So how it winds up.
It better be 37 feet.
Yeah.
Is that how it winds up?
Okay, Mark, I think I'm all set. I mean, I don't
You're all
need any more
set?
information. Yeah, thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
You're all set? You're all set? Okay. What we'll do now is, I'll close the public hearing, ZBA 24-1. Okay. Gonna move on and, to, unfinished business, which now we'll open up, and just to be said that now the discussion remains between us. You're welcome to sit and listen, and then, but there'll be no other input. Okay, new business, ZBA 24-1 application for a variance from section 7.04, location of accessory structures, and table 8.02, front yard setback minimum for zoning regulations to allow allow the removal of a house and add a new structure at 32 Trask Road, owner George and Pamela Perezik, applicant Eric Peterson. Okay. Who wants to start?
As far as further discussion,
Yes.
I don't have any, need of any further information.
I'm all set.
Well, actually, no, we should have created a motion first. Who wants to throw a motion out there?
I think that's Rich job.
Oh, thanks, Bill. Yeah, right. Yeah, just because
We're
I'm not
staring
there,
at you.
right, yeah.
We're staring at you.
All right, let's try to give it a go here. We can all work on this together. Because we need a motion in order to discuss. So I would move that the Zoning Board of Appeals approves the application as presented and give the applicant relief from 7.04 and 8.02 of the Willington zoning regulations. Specifically, for the front yard, the applicant has asked for 37 feet of yard relief, upon which we'll approve that. And then we can amend the motion as we go through our discussion. Is there a second?
Okay, okay, we have some discussion. Any discussion?
I'm good.
I'm good. I mean, like I said, we have an existing structure. So we're not creating really any greater hardship than already exists. Just the structure is going to be, slightly larger in scale, but it's not encroaching any more than it is right now. So,
And maybe less if they can move it back.
so I'm pretty comfortable with that. Rick?
Yeah, I would just amend my own motion if you don't mind, because I would also make a condition of this motion to be that we receive an as-built from the applicant, and the staff in the zoning office approves that as-built to make sure that it is compliant with this motion. If you wouldn't mind, that would be the motion, please.
Okay,
I'll second that.
second the amendment. Okay, if there's no other discussion,
I had one more comment, if you don't mind, Mark. What I saw for the hardship here is it's an existing non-conforming building that has existing septic and well. I think it would be adverse to public health and safety if we interfered with that existing well and septic system as it exists, as this applicant is proposing for this small barn to be erected and used with a shower. So they've demonstrated clearly that there's hardship. They've demonstrated that it's a non-conforming building. They've demonstrated it's within the rules and it's an appropriate ask for this waiver. That's all I've got. Thank you.
okay, any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion, we have it seconded, we have it amended and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Record sheet.
Aye.
Okay. And that's unanimous. So, thank you. We're good with that. Okay, we'll move on. Approval of the minutes.
Excellent.
I don't know if we have our minutes,
They should have been in the packet. We
but we can,
copied them all. I must have left them downstairs.
I guess that'll be okay. We can,
I can either run down and get the copies, or you can table it to the next meeting.
we'll table the approval of the minutes till the next meeting. Correspondence, not seeing none. Public participation. Items not on the agenda. Staff reports and discussion. No, okay, I think we've covered it. We ready to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Okay. All in favor?
Ah.
Aye.